Well, hey guys, sitting here under my powerstroke, having some issues. Let me roll out from under here. I was just down here checking the camshaft sensor and making sure that the sensor was in correctly. If you crank these trucks over and they don't start, sometimes you'll get a camshaft, crankshaft code. You can pretty much ignore it. I just wanted to double check just to rule out some issues. So the issues is that I'm having today. Sorry for this weird lighting. Got the sun off the windshield. So I was driving yesterday. I went and picked up this beautiful scooter, and legitimately less than a mile as soon as I take off out the parking lot after I drove 30 miles out there to pick it up, I was sitting at a stop sign and noticed like a rough idle. Rough idle, lost the low end power, and then it would pick up, so it wasn't that the turbo wasn't kicking in. So make it to a safe spot, pull over, and look at my codes. I got a little scanner on board with the Torque Pro app, and getting codes for high circuit on the first, fourth, and seventh cylinder. And that's what it sounded like. Literally sounded like half the engine was running. So, and I could, at that point, could restart the truck. It'd start just fine, but obviously I have a rough idle. All those connections are related to the pin on the FICM that's very closest to the firewall. So that pin that's closest, back, essentially. So I started looking around, look for any chafing of the wiring. There's one spot that, let's see if I could get you flipped around here. One spot, I don't know if you can see it, sorry, this is a terrible camera angle, where the EGR cooler, I don't know if you can even see it. Anyways, there's two bolts that bolt on the EGR cooler. One has a stud that, it was rubbing against that. It didn't look like it chafed through. I'm gonna have to check when I get this turd home. But that could be an area. But I got kind of another hint, another crumb. I pulled up the coolant reservoir, reached underneath it, got access to the FICM, and started wiggling the connections around, maybe a loose connection. So starting from the front of the truck, moving back, I got no response. This is while running, by the way. I wanted to see if maybe it would do something different. Truck was still running, rough idle. Wiggled the front connector, no issues. Wiggled the next connector back, so the middle one, no issues. Well, wiggle the third one, truck dies. So okay, tried to restart it again, and now it doesn't really want to start. I mean, it's getting the FICM sync. FICM logic power is still 48, or sorry, FICM main power is 12, and then FICM logic power is still 48, reading good. So I put one of those Dorman boards in when I first bought the truck, but it's been flawless. So I don't know, maybe that could be a possibility too. But yeah, wiggle that, and man, I couldn't get the truck really started again after that. So I pulled the FICM out completely. I looked at the pins, looked at the wiring best I could while sitting in the parking lot of Walmart. Luckily, there is a Home Depot right next to it, so I went and grabbed a piece of 5/8 vinyl tubing. I've seen some people kind of put that in. Maybe the connection won't clip up. All the clips are still there. So the clips that latch onto the FICM, they're still there. I'm not missing those. So, but figured, why, hey, you know, what the hell, we'll give it a shot. Yeah, and no difference. So, put everything back in, and yeah, she's not really wanting to start right now. So, to be continued. I'm gonna get AAA on the phone, typical 6-liter stuff. Send her on home, and we'll get more of a diagnosis in the next day or so. Luckily, I have this cool scooter to get my happy ass back home. So, thanks, guys.